Finally back. Um, that was a little longer than I thought, but I still came back today. Yeah, Bluetooth completely dropped out in a way I have never seen before. It was really hard to bring it back. Like Windows just thought I didn't have Bluetooth anymore. And so like the keyboard I was using for this and my tablet, no go. But it's finally back. Among some other things I did, I didn't spend like 3 hours troubleshooting Bluetooth, but it was still way too long. So I'm just waiting for my scene to load, and I was gonna pick up where I left off. Um, so yeah. Sometimes there's something in the scene, like certain artifacts of sorts that can make it take a really long time to load. All right, finally back, and now I'll be able to do that thing that should have been really easy to do. Yay! So I may have had too many Bluetooth devices at once, so now I am just kind of using my not as good tablet. Right now, I am building a. There we go. Building a kind of a screen that's going to go through here using my trusty scalpel tool to do this. I'm kind of cutting into this. Very useful for this type of task. That's pretty good. Oh, it's so nice being able to use my hotkeys. Since these things are needed to appreciate what one does have. It's the way to look at it. Yes, I am online. Just checking. Probably won't have many viewers since it's so late. um, yeah, I'm gonna try not to stream this late usually for a bunch of circumstances today that made that happen. Let me do a quick. So I'm going to be setting up Railclone soon. It's a plugin I have wanted for a really long time that architects use it's sort of a node-based array plugin. It allows you to do like repeated geometry. Um, it's going to be super, super useful. Can't wait. But I need to learn it first. It has a bit of a steep learning curve. I may or may not embarrass myself learning it in real time on the stream. But right now, I'm just going to do it the brute force way, which is basically. Right, here we go. Just basically just making a bunch of copies and moving them into place. Not the most elegant way to do things, not the most not the quickest either. But sometimes it is quicker if you don't count like I'm gonna learn new stuff. So what I want is like these kinds of plates. I think these ones up here are a little too high, so I should have checked this earlier. We go in and just lower all these guys. Well, it looks a little more even here. So yeah, for anyone tuning in, this is a continuation of a very short stream I did earlier this evening. Finally got a chance to get back online. Now, we're gonna bend this thing here. I want to bend it in just a little bit. Let's bring it into the actual camera and see how this looks, and then I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna do a really great operation called the path to form world space modifier. What that's going to do is it's going to take this geometry and skin it, stretch it along the spline. So, yes. So right now I'm just getting a sense of the scale. I may want to. So initially, when I did this, I was thinking it would be part of the ceiling as well, but I actually really like the idea of it being this kind of a divider wall as well, as long as it's not too busy, which it very well may be. See what it looks like in the ceiling. It needs to go up higher. I was thinking it'd be all the way up to kind of where this goes, but then it would kind of conform around these, so that it looks, you know, I want it to be part of the same shape language, so that's why I took pieces of these top parts to make it really, when you use pieces of geometry for stuff, it really ties everything together. So I was thinking about maybe adding a couple more layers to these floors, and then adding some of it as trim around here. Just tie everything together. Um, so what to do first with this piece here? So I'm going to isolate this, and I know what I'm going to do here, or at least I'm going to try. Alright, that'll work for now. I'll convert this to editable spline and give it some more interpolation steps, nice and smooth. Thought I'd move it up a little bit and take these control points and move them so they're moving around, although not that one. So what I'll do is I'll just sweep this with some basic geometry just to kind of test the look before trying to apply the fancy stuff. It's good practice. Like that. Wow. Something about this latest driver is causing all, when you have really thin polygons. Oh, I know why it's doing that. Oops. Yeah, I'm getting more overlaps than I used to. These little black patches. There we go. So yeah, so the function that this does, oops, I'm auto saving here. The function that this does is it helps to create a sense of space between this and that. Right now, this thing visually was getting in the way, of the read. This is this nice like way to block that. And so I'm gonna give that a quick test render and just get a sense of like what we're looking at. Yeah, I waited way too late to start this. Well, that's certainly better. So when I start adding the interior lights, because this will be lit inside, I'm going to be able to push and pull the shapes I want. So right now it's kind of a mess, right? But I can rectify a lot of this with lighting. So the next idea is to take this and run it along this strip here. I did want to have some openings cut into it, but I think I can deal with that later. I can just collapse this and make openings, so it'll be fine. Everything will be okay. This is going straight into this column, but I'm actually not sold on this being the location of the column. I put it in for reasons that are a little less relevant now. This thing, I also, since I changed the camera angle, oh, yeah, I gotta create another physical camera for view. And while that's being selected, I'm gonna open up my layers. So, remove my V-Ray messages on screen. Trying to keep all my cameras organized, which just makes things a lot easier later. So, there we go. All my cameras can be turned off and I won't see all that clutter. So yeah, this thing is being a little bit too obscured. And I think that this whole shape, is this shape even showing up in the render? Not really, no. I think I put it there for some other reason. I was trying something else out at the time. I don't even remember what I was going to apply that to now. I think it was going to go here somewhere. I can always try it. But yeah, it doesn't need to be there anymore. Oh, you know what? I could totally kind of deform this to fit and be the ceiling. Yeah, it's not very noticeable though. I wonder if this is part of this ceiling somehow. Yeah, that looks dissonant. It doesn't work. Yeah. See, visually, I like what this is doing. I like the composition, but it just doesn't make a lot of sense. I mean, unless this thing was hooked around this column. Thought a little more about these columns too. I want to do something with plants kind of hanging down from these here. I was gonna add that at some point. See where these little make it bigger. These little things go. I was gonna put these little like balls at the end, and then have these cool like plants hang down. But yeah, this thing I still like it. Still think maybe it could be something cool. I know what I'll do. I'm just gonna play around with it a little bit. So yeah, let's have fun with some modifiers. Modifier fun with Kristen. So make the frequency and amplitude really, really big. Wow, that really needs more geometry before it's going to start looking good. Yeah, that's actually really weird. I think it's kind of interesting, but that's more what I want. Just trying something here. See, this is when the scene starts getting heavy. It's auto-saving again. I may end up going in and turning off or like turning down the frequency, which it does that. Just moving on the edge here. I do wonder if the active streaming makes my system a little less stable. So it may actually be a good idea to leave it on despite like boring people. The risk of boring people watching the little wheel. What I'm doing is I'm making art. I'm making abstract art. Specifically, a sculpture. Saw the potential of this thing and I wanted to manifest it. At this point, I don't really care about using the space warp. I want this to because I'm not planning to add any like size specific modifiers to it, unless I do. I probably won't. So I give this a cool material, and what I also will do is apply a little bit of radial symmetry to this guy. So I'm liking this look. I think this fits in with the world. The geometry is a little bit messy, so I'm probably gonna have some cleanup if I bring this to Photoshop. But see what happens. Even if I weld the seams, it does it. Got a nice kind of like floral look, kind of. This could be a ceiling piece. Oh, I know something to try with this. Could be really cool. All right. Oh, that's interesting. We said transform, did something different to it, and it's copied. What the heck? Not gonna deal with it right now. Sure, there's a perfectly logical explanation. So I'm creating a path by which I'm going to take this and get to kind of stroke it with this path. Should be interesting. The radius too a little smaller, something like that. Copy. Right to spline. And then I'm gonna do path to form, pick path. Oh, oops. I just did that wrong. Oh, that's strange. It's not letting me do it. Maybe it's because I'm grouped. I'm gonna try unlinking these. Ungroup. So this is one of those operations that can be really messy. In fact, I think one thing that I'm already seeing is going to make it messy is how big it is compared to the curve. Oh, that's kind of an interesting effect. So they're all scaling locally. So I'm getting actually kind of like that. So okay with it. Normally I would group it and then I would scale the group to keep it all in line. It's very important that here we go. Then that is strange. There we go. Good old rescale world units utility. Always coming in to save the day. Alright, that's actually maybe a little too small. I'm trying to get a certain look here. Yeah, I think I actually overdid it with the scaling. After all, let's try something more like this. Let's see if it. We get. All right, finally, try this again here. we hit patch accidentally. Back to farm. Alright, so we want to do not want to preserve the form. Vector adaptive, rotation, I'll keep that all. So we want to stretch. Oh, that's doing this thing that I was hoping it wouldn't do, but it's doing it. Yep, that is an absolute mess. Do not want to do that. I usually use the world space modifier, which is a better tool, except it's not available for this multi-object. I think it's because the initial way I made the shape, this came from a different file, and I think that it's not behaving as well as if I just had like normal geometry. There's something about the transforms on this that's making it not want to go on the path properly. But I kind of like it as it is anyway. That was just kind of a hopeful thing. It's supposed to be this nice like modern sculpture that's going to be like in this atrium thing. So I'll just make it a little more balanced and I'll revisit it later. It's really just like a side-tracking project anyway. That's a little better balanced. Whole thing I think could use rotation. A little bit better. Alright, that's as far as I'll take this for now. Yeah, see, that's kind of cool. It's got that look of like a magnetic, or you know, it looks like a strange attractor. Is what it looks like. Just reset the pivot point. So all of these shapes, I'll probably revisit. I'm gonna put them in the junk section for now. Temporary holding thing. Oh, did I not make a junk? Usually I have Z junk. Oh, that's as good as time in any. That is way big. Super big. I mean, I could make it huge, but this seems like really huge, like unnecessarily huge. Nice thing is, if I can't find a place for this piece, I can always put it in a different piece. Somewhere there could work. Doing some basic math here, making new floors. Gotta wait for it to autosave. I've just added a few more floors. It's all very movable. I'm setting the offset of the sweep, and now I can get these effects. In fact, what if I set the offset where there's like some kind of a glass thing? There, it's probably would be too much glass, but and again, I get a sense of what that look like. Before I do a test render, I'm gonna try something else too. It is concerning to me that I had the problem with the path tracing for the multiple objects, because that might have been something they changed in this version. I know it used to work, and I'm still, this is the first time I've used it in the new version. So I just kind of want to try that. So these are my little backup copies in case I totally mess this up. Always a good practice. Oh man, it's after midnight already. I wanted to come in and do a makeup stream, but like nobody's awake. So it's pretty quiet in chat. So I might just call it a night soon. Oh. Oh. Whoa. Didn't want that to happen. There we go. So one thing may have happened with the reset X from utility is it may have flipped these normals. Let me do a quick, yeah, no, it did not. Okay. I don't know what this material is. When I look at it, this might be a good chance to actually change. No, I'll wait to change the material. First thing of business. Should sweep us some paths. Let me see if the world space modifier one works. Yeah, no, it doesn't. If I click, if I only select one object, then does it work? Yes, it does. Alright, so at least in this version, maybe it was all the versions and I'm just remembering it correctly. It's been a while since I've used this modifier. So that's pretty strange. What is it doing here? That is very weird. I tend to not like to use this path deform because it has always been quirky. This is very quirky. It's super quirky. I mean, I'm kind of getting something that sort of looks like the kind of thing I want. I have a way of fixing this. What I have to do is just merge everything. That's what I need to do. So, which is okay. All I do is I take everything by its. I think this will work. I'm 90% sure this will work. None of these can be selected and we convert it to editable poly. But well, let's try resetting this again. Doing it again. Oh, that's why. I'm gonna nest this isolation. That's why it did that. I didn't notice that it was selecting the other one. Alright, easy peasy. It's all good. I just need to do this attachment function with all of these. That should cover it. I'm gonna save this so if it completely works out, be okay. What? Oh, I see what it's doing. Yeah, I think I see what it's doing. It just did it. So I usually use the world space modifier one. So I'm just gonna have to play around with settings. I know I can get what I want out of this. It takes a little bit of fiddling. There should be a move to path. See if auto does anything. Oh, that's interesting. This is a really good tool for happy accidents. So far, these are not so happy. But I almost never use the non-world space modifier one, so this is actually new territory to me. Okay, so that's looking kind of like what I want. The nice thing is well, not really. So it's only moving one portion of it along the path. I want to take this whole thing along the path. Although I kind of like what's happening here for some other part. mean, it's not terrible. I mean, see what this actually looks like rendered if I plop on like a smooth modifier, maybe. Could actually look kind of neat as is. Not for the initial thing I wanted to use it for. Well, yeah, if I put the right material in that black, I can make that work. But still not what I wanted, and I want to be able to control my tools. Like, happy accidents are great, but ultimately, I wanted to do what I wanted to do. Oh, there it is. Have to form axis. Now I should be able to offset it along the path. If it works in any way like the world space modifier one. I should be able to select something like stretch. Yeah, see, squeeze, like, what the heck is it doing? Like, I don't know, like, why it just did that when I chose squeeze. What's the difference between stretch and squeeze? This is something where if I had lots of time, I would go into the manual and look, but I don't want to bore you guys, so I'm just going to. Oh, that's kind of useful. You always want texture coordinates. Oh no. Well, this is what you get when you play around with stuff you're not used to. Okay. Well, this is actually a good breaking point because. Ah, well, scene was corrupted, but there's an intact parts of the scene that have been saved. Fun! Not. Yeah, I'll probably. I saved it before I started it. This is why. You can get some great effects with that tool, really. Um, I need to get used to the new one. Um, all right, I'm gonna stop. But it was fun doing it again.